Welcome to the Mechanical Room. A Centrotherm production focusing on all things in and around the HVAC industry. And now, your hosts, Michael Sakaris and Matthew Price.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and safe venting enthusiasts the world over, welcome to the November edition of the Mechanical Room. And man, how lovely is it that we're going to knock out this November episode not on the last day of the month?
So we're planning ahead, as always.
Yes, as always. Sometimes we've had the guests scheduled, and I mean,
Yes.
scheduling is difficult. You've been on the road a little bit.
I have.
How was Kefalonia?
Kefalonia was spectacular. For those of you who do not know, I was in Greece visiting the homeland. It was wonderful. Getting the house ready for next year. Hopefully the family can go. So I was painting and doing electrical work. I almost got electrocuted.
You didn't tell me that.
I was changing a bayonet.
Did you get shocked?
I did not. Thank God it's 220 over there. If I got shocked standing on an aluminum ladder, it would not have been a good thing. The light that was in that fixture for probably 30 years, because the house is used, very little. I went to, I was holding the thing. I went to unscrew the light bulb, but the light was of such old antiquities that it was a bayonet style. If you are familiar with a bayonet style lamp, and that whole thing shattered in my hand while power was on.
My goodness.
So I ended up like ripping the whole thing out, took out the entire, wire, light fixture, put in a new, more modern.
And you go down to like the
LED,
the Siemens of Argostoli to pick that up.
Actually, I did not. Believe it or not, there was a Schneider. There was a Schneider electric distributor there.
No way.
I ended up putting.
Who's the territory manager for?
I'm not sure. I took a picture of me standing in front of a Schneider electric wall, and I sent it to my Schneider buddies.
I saw it as well.
I did. So it was, so I installed Schneider electric receptacles.
Is the house now to where? Did you accomplish at least the majority of your list?
What I wanted to do, yes, but there's still so much more to do.
I mean, even in the house that you live in, the house that I live in, it never ends. So, but ready for the family to have a summer excursion?
That is the hopes next year, that we do a family thing.
Excellent. Well, I've been so lucky as to be there with your family and have a piece of baklava on the scenic porch in the back that overlooks the rolling hills of Kefalonia.
I was sitting there enjoying my morning coffee.
And a mythos at one point.
At one point, yes, I did send you the mythos.
Yes, and I believe it was, as your doctor, I prescribed like six more of those.
You did. So it was great. It was great. It was
Excellent.
good to get there. The weather was good for October. I was wearing shorts, and then I came back to reality here.
Did you see Themi?
I did not see Themi. The hotel had closed. I've never been in Greece this late ever.
So he goes back to Athens, where his family is, correct?
That's right.
So Themi owns the Poseidon, which is a lovely hotel that my wife and I stayed with when we were on the beautiful island of Kefalonia, not this past summer, but the previous one. We're hoping to come.
Open invite. Anybody want to come to Greece?
Careful what you wish for.
I will be the tour guide. So next summer, month of August, at some point you're welcome. Just let me know.
Yeah, maybe if I have the energy, I'll drop in a few things here. When we were there, it's just amazing to have, of course, a local tour guide to go to the Church of St. Erasmus.
Absolutely.
And the caves and the various beaches, which are just magnificent.
Yes.
And the place was just amazing. It was wonderful. And actually, as I've definitely told you this before, but our HVAC audience probably doesn't know. We went to Kefalonia for a couple of days, and then my wife and I flew to Athens, where we had never been before, to do tourist bullshit and all that stuff, and go visit and go tour around, et cetera, et cetera. We ended up in one of many bars that I like to frequent, and we were chatting with some locals in Athens, which oddly they had never spoke to an American, which I found to be
No, that's crazy.
I found it a little hard to believe, but we were taken by a local to a bar that I don't think tourists go to in Athens. So who knows? Anyway, when I told them that we had just gotten back from Kefalonia and not Mykonos, not Santorini, we instantly had a little bit more Grecian credibility for not going to the
tourist areas, maybe.
The spring breaky, the Kardashian, the club scene stuff. We went to a much more a better kept secret, let's say, of the islands of Greece. So yeah, potentially again, I'm propositioning my wife for a Euro trip.
Like I said, anybody is welcome. We would be happy to host.
It's a beautiful, beautiful place. So, and speaking of beautiful, our guest is one of the handsomest men in HVAC,
yes,
for sure. This is an amazing month on Mechanical Room. We have a celebrity for sure and an amazing guy. Who's our guest this month?
Our guest is Mr. Roger Wakefield. We called him Mr. Wakefield, and he insisted on it's Roger. So we're welcoming Roger Wakefield. Celebrity, has massive following everywhere. Been on the Today Show, I believe. Been on a presenter for many things.
Yeah, well-known
brand ambassador for Cottonelle, for Renai, from Milwaukee, I think.
He's he's on the speaking circuit. He gets around and speaks at PHCCs. And
at the end of the day, though, what he is trying to do is to elevate the trades, to bring more people into the trades, to get tradesmen to start their own business, because there's a need for more plumbing and HVAC, mechanical, businesses. So he's trying to improve the state of the world.
And remains an incredibly generous and humble guy. And that, I think, plays really, really well, because as we always talk about, the authenticity is there. He is the same guy on and off the camera, and that and just a genuine, enthusiastic, upbeat guy, and we're very lucky to count him amongst our friends here at Centrotherm.
Indeed.
So, how about we do a pipe segment?
I always love the pipe segment, so hang tight. We're going to kick off. Show us your pipe.
It's your favorite time of the episode.
All right, so we are back. Thank you for coming back, and we are going to be talking about Show Us Your Pipe. Well, we love to showcase training rooms and training vans and anything about education into the industry. So who's our winner that we picked not long ago?
So big shout out to Josh Stelter of the mighty Lyall, Thresher Associates. They are our great reps in the Chicagoland area. Josh must have been doing a training, doing a sales meeting. I'm not quite sure, but he was on site at Caleffi, and he snapped this photo that features a bank of triangle tube boilers and some of our industry-leading 10-foot lengths. It's a really interesting looking photo here. He did say so. I'm so sorry. He apologized up front. Like, there's not a good way to get a good photo of this stuff. The photo he sent me looks great to me.
Yeah,
So thank you, Josh. And it's really interesting how just vertical rise. There's a couple of little bends in there, but I mean, it's just straight up. And good job. Thanks, Caleffi.
The highlights for me: 10-footers, industry-leading, only ones that have it. It's in a training room, which is part of, something that we take very, very dearly, is, training the field. But one minor thing, no diamond plate.
No diamond plate. That's true.
Well, we need to talk to them. Next time they got to put some diamond plate on there.
Just looking at this though, how much diamond plate it would take to.
That's like tall.
Clearly, this is a 10-footer into a 10-footer, and then
it's a 30-foot plus rise on that.
As everyone knows, and as is abundantly clear, I am no installer. I have no idea what I'm doing with this type of stuff. How much does that diamond plate to do that?
That would be a lot.
It would be a lot.
It would cost a lot. And we're joking. We like diamond plate, but
no, Caleffi, get your shit together.
Caleffi's a good company. Good peers of ours. We think very highly of them. But again, 10-footers, training. We're all about training. We had to highlight it and showcase that.
So thank you, Caleffi. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Lyall Thresher.
And I think it was Triangle Tube. So thank you, Triangle Tube, for being in that training center as well.
Welcome back to the mechanical room, and we welcome in our guest this month, a man who needs no introduction, live from the great state of Texas, I assume, not from the Southwest airline where you are so well known. It is Roger Wakefield. Welcome to the mechanical room. Thanks for joining us. Michael, please greet a guest who needs no introduction.
It absolutely does not. Mr. Wakefield, it is always a pleasure. Thank you for making time out of your busy schedule to join us. How are you? How are you doing?
You know what? Number one, Michael, Matthew, thank y'all for having me here. I love this. I'm doing fantastic. I get to tell people every day I am living the most amazing life I could have ever imagined. And this is just another day in it. So it is fantastic.
That's great to hear. You are obviously an inspiration to many, but to us in particular, and you fit a very nice theme as to a lot of the guests that we've had on this show, which are people who are invigorated and educational and really, really enthusiastic about the trades. And as such, you're a perfect guest for us, and we really can't thank you enough for coming on here and spreading that joy, spreading that knowledge. And that enthusiastic welcome is exactly the kind of stuff that I think make you such a magnetic personality online and in real life, etc. So again, thank you for joining us.
No, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank y'all.
Thank you. So, Roger, you have a super big persona, online. You're on TV. You're on social media. You have a theme, though. There's an underlying theme on what you're trying to do for the trades. Maybe some of our guests that follow our podcasts may not know that, although I think most probably do. But just in case, tell us a little bit about Roger Wakefield. What is your mission? What are you trying to do?
I started out as a plumber, and I tell everybody that all the time. I'm lucky enough, I get to speak on stages across the United States, everything from social media conferences to trade conferences to speaker conferences. I was on stage yesterday in Dallas at a marketing conference, a digital marketing. So it's really neat, all the things that I get to do. But my big mission, my big goal is everybody in the trades knows we need more people. And right now there's 1 million unfilled trades jobs across the United States. I've got a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal to help 3 million people in the trades. I want to help bring 1.5 million into the trades to help fill those 1 million open positions. I want to help 750,000 tradesmen learn to move up and make more money. And that's by learning and educating themselves. If you make yourself better, you're going to get better at your job. You're going to make more money. Then I want to help 500,000 tradespeople across the United States start their own businesses, because there's a lot of people that want to do it, but we don't know how. And my first coach was Michael Gerber. And one of the first things he taught me is, look, we teach doctors and lawyers and tradespeople and everybody how to do their job. We never teach them how to open their own business. And so I've learned that. I've learned it very well. And then my last group of people, 250,000 people that are already tradespeople, help them learn to do things better to make their phone ring. We know how to fix things. We know how to repair things, but we're never taught marketing and advertising and how to make our phone ring. And that's something that I've learned to do pretty well. And I want to be able to share these things all across all the trades.
That's awesome. I know, obviously we know you from a number of different places. Again, for our guests, how do you do that, right? I mean, all great aspirational goals. What are the levers? What are the tools? What are the ththings that you have that you do that can make such an impact? How do you do it?
In addition to being a TikTok star, of course.
Well, yeah. And TikTok was like the 4th or 5th place that I tried. I started out doing YouTube. I walked into a social media conference just over 5 years ago. And at the time, I'm 54 years old. It's social media. So, of course, I'm there to learn Facebook. What else is there? And I'm walking down the corridor, and I see a placard next to me that says, get in front of your customers using video. And I walk in, I sit on the front row. This guy walks out on stage, and the very first thing he says is, YouTube is the 2nd largest search engine in the world. And I shut my notebook. I thought, this guy's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. YouTube is just where I store my videos. And I turn around, I put my hand on the chair to stand up, and I look behind me, and the whole back of the room is standing room only. People are standing along the walls. So I turn back around and look up in time to hear him say, and it's owned by Google, the largest search engine in the world. And I'm thinking, wait, we send so much money every month to Google. Why aren't we doing anything on YouTube? I walked out of that conference with a plan, but well, I say a plan. I walked out with a list of notes. Over the next 3 days, I came up with an implementation plan. How am I going to make this happen? 1 month later, we started putting up 3 videos a week. Every single week, we've been consistent for the last 5.5 years, except for 1 week. We had a sponsor not get back to us in time, and we didn't have a backup plan. So now we've always got a backup plan, so we never fail our members again or our audience. We've always got a backup plan. We're ready to go. But I think, Michael, to answer your question really easy, we make content that is entertaining and educational, that make people want to get in the trades, that make them want to learn more, how to become better, that make them want to get the mindset of, look, I can start my own business. If Roger did it, an uneducated plumber can go and do his own business and make it grow the way he has, man, anybody can do it. And that's the way I approach things.
So that conference, I'm curious. So that's like the beginning, right? That's the impetus, to use an industry pun for one of my good buddies as well, who's another inspiring figure in this in this space. What was the impetus for you attending that conference, and what was the conference itself?
Well, the conference itself is Social Media Marketing World. It's held February, March of every year. It's in San Diego, and literally,
okay,
it's a great place. You'll see me there. I do not miss it, because every time I go, I pick up another nugget, another something. Why aren't I doing this? But I mean, think about this. I had spent $47,000 to make my phone stop ringing. I had paid marketing companies to build my website, to rebuild my website, to fix my website, to do all these different things they keep coming to you, telling you they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being at a trades conference, and my phone rings, and I pick it up, and it's my CSR. And she calls and she says, look, our phones aren't ringing. I said, I know. I figured you turned mine off because I'm at a conference. She said, no, they are not ringing. Our plumbers are not working. They have nowhere to go. The phones are not ringing. And I started trying to call my marketing guy, and he literally ghosted me. And by the messages I was leaving, he knew I wasn't happy. He knew I was upset. He knew by the frequency of my calls, he better do something quick. He literally ghosted me. And I decided right then, I've got to take marketing into my hands, take control of it myself. And I knew I didn't want to learn to do websites and SEO and all that. So I decided that I was going to learn social media. I talked to marketing companies about it, but they weren't giving me the answers that made me feel comfortable to know they know what they're talking about. So I was literally on the treadmill one morning. I hear Gary V. He's talking. And I love watching his broadcast. And literally he's on stage, I think at Stanford or something. He holds up his phone. He says, look, I don't care if you're 20, 50, or 70, you can do this. Now, he used a little bit more colorful language, but I almost fell off the treadmill, and I grabbed it and I rewound it again, and I listened, and I thought, he's talking to me. I'm 54. I can do this. So I started doing research on social media and social media conferences. I discovered Michael Stelzner. It was an interview that Nathan Chan from Founder Magazine did. It was literally a podcast. I'm watching a screenshot of something, and the little ticker bar go by, but I'm watching a podcast, and I'm listening, and Michael Stelzner is talking about the conference that he puts on, and how this is where marketing and branding people come to learn, come to grow on social media. And I thought, I'm going to go to this. And I'm from Dallas, so I show up. I'm 2 hours early. The doors are locked. I go eat breakfast. I come back. The doors are open. I go in. They're still not open yet, but there's people behind the counter. So I walked up and said, can I register? He said, absolutely. So get me registered. And the girl says, okay, I'm going to find some plumbers for you to hang out with. And she scrolls down and she looks, she says, there's no plumbers here. She said, what kind of people would you hang out with? I said, plumbers, electricians, HVAC techs, roofers, anybody in the residential service industry.
Building, yeah.
Yeah. And she looks down the deal, and man, I think she had a tear in her eye. And she looked up at me and she said that there's nobody here like you. I don't know who you're going to hang out with. And I immediately replied, look, don't you worry about me. I'm going to be fine. But I'm thinking, why aren't there any residential service people here learning to do social media?
That was a opportunity presented itself right in front of you there.
Yeah, somebody hit me in the head with a 2x4 and I actually heard it.
Yeah.
So that's I mean, that's the beginnings, let's say. That's the origin story of Mr. Wakefield and you know, and your
My name's Roger.
Here.
My name is Roger.
Okay, Roger.
All right.
I buried Mr. Wakefield a few years ago.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. I've been yelled at by many people. One of my father-in-law's friends always like, you can call me by my nickname. And I'm sorry, Mr. McCaslin. You're just always Mr. McCaslin to me. And he's like, no, you know. So, all right, Roger. So
there we go.
That's the origin story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious as to get your take on the evolution even up to today, because clearly now if you go to one of those conferences, you're going to find 100 HVAC guys. You're going to find a ton of electricians and a ton of plumbers and all that sort of stuff too. So I just kind of want to comment, just comment a little bit on the growth, the industry adoption, and in your place in all of that, I suppose.
And I have a follow-up after that answer that's going to go hand in hand with that.
Okay, number one, Matthew, you'd be surprised. There's not hundreds. There's a few. There's a handful.
There's a handful of great ones. There are hundreds of not great ones. There are a handful of like cream of the crop guys, let's say.
Well, and even the ones that I end up talking to, I don't know that there's as many going as we think. There are some really good ones. I can literally name on like one or two hands the people that I see at conferences like that. Now, you'll see them at AHR, you'll see them at WET, you'll see them at shows like that. But me, I'm still wanting to get better at social media. I want to I don't just want to be a good plumber on social media. I want to be a great YouTuber.
Yeah.
I want to do better content and get more followers and more people watching and more people engaged. But the evolution is we walked out of that conference, started doing YouTube, but we still didn't know what we were doing. We just literally got on YouTube and asked it, how do I do YouTube?
Sure.
And we started making videos. We started putting content up. Then just like anything else, if you want to get better at something, look, success leaves clues. Success leaves clues in every arena. And we started looking at YouTubers that were doing good. We got coaching, we got consulting, we got training, and we started doing things better. And our channel evolution, we started out as Texas Green Plumbing. That was the company that I was trying to grow. Then after a while, we realized, look, we've been making content for homeowners, but we've got probably as many plumbers watching us or more than homeowners. So we kind of shifted our content. We changed the channel to the Expert Plumber, which was a contest I won through American Standard. And then we realized, look, it's not just plumbers. It's plumbers, it's electricians, it's HVAC techs, it's roofers. So we went through our analytics and realized our biggest search term was Roger Wakefield. So we shifted again, changed the channel to Roger Wakefield. Now we talk about all the trades, but plumbing is still our root. It's our foundation. I'm a licensed plumber and an HVAC technician, so it makes it easy for me. But man, we have just grown a community that has just become phenomenal.
You make a really interesting point about AHR versus the social media conventions and stuff like that, and that it sort of inspires me to try to do that type of thing as well, to learn a little bit more. I've been to Adobe conferences before, which is a little bit more of the content creation, less so of the strategy and stuff. What's a good lesson? What's a one that's just stuck with you immediately that was like, a light went on and you're like, yeah, and then you went back to the studio and you just started doing it that way.
One of the first things that popped into my mind as soon as you said that is I remember Mari Smith being on stage and she says, content is king.
We say that all the time.
But engagement is queen.
For sure.
And she rules the roost.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really.
And then something that we always talk about as well. We got to come up with a clever catchphrase to it, but authenticity. authenticity creates.
Well, that's also, I think, embedded in the content element too, right?
Well, content can be flashy, but not authentic.
But content can be flashy and authentic too.
Absolutely, and ideally, that's what you want. What you want, and that's, I think, Roger, to kind of little accolades for you. You are very authentic, and when you're doing a podcast or whatever you're doing, your stuff. You're trying to help. I've been, I jump onto your podcast, your LinkedIn, your YouTube go lives. There are people there that are coming for lessons. How do I, fill in the blank? And you are very authentic, very knowledgeable, and authenticity is a massively important piece to all of that too.
So how have you worked on that? I mean, obviously there's a kernel and a spark of your natural ability to communicate, and people, an introvert's never going to really be great at this, so to speak. I mean, you can always work on things, but what's something you've done, or how did you get to be so affable and photogenic and all that sort of stuff that plays on screen, let's say? I mean, those are factors that are certainly important. So, I mean, was it just natural and you just kind of felt it? Obviously, you've worked on it over the years, but, I mean, is it just something that's sort of inherent to who you are as a person?
Matthew, I'm just a damn good looking guy. I can't help that. No, and I'm joking about that because I've always said, look, I've got a face for radio. I'd be great at radio. But I mean, seriously, and I love that because Michael talked about it a while ago. Look, Roger, you're you. You're authentic to yourself. And I remember the first conference that I spoke at was VidCon, and I'm on stage and we shake people's hands and take pictures and all that after the presentation. And I noticed this guy kept waiting and kept letting everybody else go ahead of him. So he's the last one to come up. And I said, man, I see you letting everybody go by. You okay? He said, yeah. He said, I just wanted to talk to you for a minute. I said, okay. He said, I talked to you in the hallway the other day. I said, yeah, 2 days ago. We were right outside the TubeBuddy room. He said, yeah. He said, I've talked to you in the hallway. I've watched your videos and I've watched you on stage. He said, Roger, you're the exact same person everywhere. And I just started laughing. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot imagine me trying to be this other persona. I just can't imagine me do it.
But a lot of people do that. And I think that's why you come across so well, is because you're you. We've met you in person. This is who you are.
It's me. And one thing you talked about too, though, an introvert can't do this. I was on stage yesterday with Dennis Yu at a digital marketing conference, and Dennis is talking to this crowd like he owns it. And in the middle of it, he says, look, y'all, any of y'all can do it. He says, look, I'm an introvert. I don't like being around people. I don't like talking to people. But when I get up here, I've got a message that helps people.
Sure.
He says, so I get up here and I try to help people. Right. And I think if you go back and look at my videos, you look at the podcast, you look at anything that I do, I want to bring value to people. I want to be that person that they say, look, Roger taught me something that changed my life, that changed my business, that changed the whole career path that I was on. And that's the value that I want to bring to people. I want to be able to say, look, somehow, some way, I left this world a better place than it was. And I think the best way to do it, people come up to me all the time and say, Roger, I want to do what you do, but I can't do it. And I'm like, look, you can do one thing I can't do. You can be you.
Right.
And that's the one thing that we all bring to the table. Look, when I come talk to people, I'm just me. And I don't blow it up any bigger than it is. I don't diminish it any less than what it is. Man, I just show up as me. And I think that I'm proud of that enough that it gives me this larger than life appearance, even though I picture myself, look, when I walk on stage and say, hey guys, look, I'm Roger Wakefield. I'm just a plumber. That's how I see myself.
Sure.
And so when I meet other plumbers, and y'all been in a room where I've met people, and people are like, oh my God, look, it's Roger Wakefield. And I'm like, guys, I'm a plumber just like you. It's not that big a deal. It's really not.
Well, that humility, I think, also lends to the authenticity, right? I mean, you boast a subscriber count that many people
in our industry, sure.
Yeah, that many people would covet, and many people that would turn some of us into egomaniacs or narcissists. I suppose it all comes back to what your ultimate goal is, right? And your ultimate goal is not the Roger Wakefield brand. It's nice that that is also elevated alongside that, but every single time, all it's about is elevating the trades and education and training and and elevating all of your fellow plumbers and whatnot. And I think that rings true, more than anything. And 2 million followers, 5 million followers, your approach is likely going to be the same.
You bet. And I'll let you say it because you talk about the brand, and you've seen me. I'm branded everywhere that I go. But I think it was Brendan Burchard who said one day, he says, look, if you're not willing to rep your brand every day, why not? What
Sure.
is there about it you're not proud of?
Right.
And it's like, look, we've got a brand book that I think is 28 pages long. And it's about what colors we're about, what Roger's about, what we're not about, what we will do, what we won't do, what we will say, what we won't say, and who we will work with, who we won't work with. And a lot of that is just, that's who we are, but my team understands that. My team knows that. So building that brand is something we're proud of.
Sure.
And we understand that there's a bigger goal behind it than just, gee, let's make Roger the most popular plumber in the world. Okay, great. Let's do something better with it than that. And I think that I learned that, there's a young golfer named Jordan Spieth.
Sure.
And I remember when he first got in, somebody interviewed him, and I saw this interview, thank God. And they said, Jordan, when you're done playing golf, what do you want to be remembered for? And he kind of laughed. He said, oh my God, what I want to be remembered for has nothing to do with the golf course. I want to make changes off the golf course. And I mean, I got chills right then just talking about it. At the end of the day, yeah, I'm a tradesperson, but I want to be more remembered by what I did to help other people in the trades than what I became in the trades. And to me, that's huge.
So with that said, 5 years from now, looking back, what are you going to look at and say, I'm really proud of this accomplishment? What's that next level of, accomplishment that you're looking to achieve?
I'm working on writing books right now. We're pitching 2 different television shows right now. I'm working on an app. I know you can see that good looking, beautiful face there.
Oh, yes.
We're working on an app, and I looked at my life. What am I doing? What did I do that helped me get better? And I started getting up and listening to morning motivational stuff. I started listening to mindset coaches that tell you, look, you can be whatever you want to be. And I started looking at the trades and thought, why don't we have anything like that in the trades? So that's what I'm creating. There's an app, there'll be a free section, there'll be a coaching section, there'll be courses, there's all kinds of things. But in the free section, it's motivation. It is, hey, you need somebody to talk to you every morning when you wake up to say, hey, look, everybody's told you just because you're a tradesman, you're not going to amount to anything. But look at the world as you drive down the road. Tradesmen built and repair that every day. And that's the world we live in. And if we start thinking about it that way, it's gonna make every tradesman's life that much better. Yeah. Because we understand there is value to it.
So this ties back to the question I was going to ask earlier. What should manufacturers, kind of turn the table on us for a second, right? You're out there, your fingers on the pulse, you're leading in what you do. What recommendations do you have for manufacturers? What more can manufacturers do to support, not your initiatives, but the goals? Mm-hmm. What can we do as a manufacturer to help the industry, whether it's, mechanical, like we are in, electrical, where I came from, what do we need to be doing to help support, making the trades better?
Well, number one, and I think y'all do a lot of it. Y'all bring in influencers and get them together and talk and communicate and share ideas. I was so impressed. Last time we were all in Miami together, you split everybody up in groups and said, hey, y'all come up with a different product, come up with an idea. And you see all these different influencers from plumbing and HVAC both getting together, and everybody's pitching an idea, and then somebody says, hey, I like this. But pick the influencers that you work with. At the marketing conference I was at yesterday, this young lady gets up and spoke, and she spoke about being an influencer and working with influencers. And she literally got up, and one of the questions she asked in the beginning was, how many people don't always believe the influencers anymore? And a lot of people in the room raised their hand. Yeah, exactly. And she said, that's me. I understand. She said, look, if somebody's offering me $100,000 to talk about a product, I'm going to talk about a product whether I like it or not.
Absolutely.
She said, who in here is going to turn down $100,000? And I raised my hand. She kind of looked at me like I was funny and then ignored me. And some people in the room later, when I was on stage, they said, hey, you raised your hand earlier and you weren't even recognized.
Yeah.
And I said, guys, look, I've turned down $1 million product. I turned it down. And my management calls me and says, what is the deal? And I said, well, here's the deal. I don't believe in that. And they said, yeah, but Roger, this is $1 million product. I said, I understand. But y'all go back and read the fine print of my contract. I put this brand in there and said, I will not work with them. And I said, this product is just like them.
And that goes back to the authenticity, right? There's something that you stand for, and that's what you stand for.
And that, I think, is where it's interesting as we, I'm the marketing and communications manager here at this manufacturing facility, right? And on Instagram, it's one thing, and in the conference room, it's a completely different type of thing when we talk about how we allocate budget numbers and things like that.
We just did that last couple of days. That's why.
There you go. And I think more and more as influencer culture begins to dominate all of the spaces, let's say, more and more people are going to be raising their hand because of that bought and sold element to it. When there is a what's the word I'm looking for? Not inauthenticity. A scratching of the back type of partnership between type of people, which then does corrode that authenticity. And I think we're there in some places with some people already, like no doubt about it. So more and more folks like yourself who have that integrity to work with what they want to do, and you're luckily in a position where you can turn that down. Others are foaming at the mouth for that contract, let's say, which it's like just racing to sell out essentially.
But Matthew, you talk about turning it down. At the time I was offered it, I wasn't making as much money as I am now.
Sure.
And it's like, would $1 million contract be great? Oh my God. Is that life changing? Absolutely.
Sure.
Is it worth it to have to look at yourself in the mirror every morning?
Yeah, it's life changing in a different way also.
You bet. And again, going back to being in Miami with y'all last time, one of your influencers came up to me and said, hey, Roger, look, I know that there's a product that you don't like. And there's several.
I think I know which one.
But anyway, he came up and said, hey, there's a product you don't like. And I'm using that product. I said, well, okay. So I'm not telling you can or can't. That's up to you. To be honest, if a plumber uses it and uses it right, there's probably never going to be a problem. God's honest truth. But I asked him, I said, so let me ask you this. Would you use this on your mother's or your grandmother's house if you were doing a plumbing job there? And he said, no. I said, then how can you put it in customers' houses?
Right.
And I said, look, I'm just asking you because I don't know how to get beyond that.
Sure.
And he just stopped and he said, man, I can't do that. I said, look, that's your decision.
Right.
But to me, that's the kind of people that y'all surround yourself with, people that do have integrity. And to me, man, that's what the whole influencer game is going to win or lose based on integrity.
Totally.
And I know people that sell stuff every day that don't use it, wouldn't use it, talk bad about it when the camera's not on. And even that lady yesterday, think about this. This is a lady on stage at a digital marketing conference trying to get people to hire her. And she says, yes, I'd sell out for money. Do you want to work with her? I don't.
No.
I'm like, I would never hire you.
Yeah.
Just based on knowing what kind of person you are.
Right.
I don't ever want that reputation.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's what, obviously it adds to your credibility. We talked about our event in Miami a little bit here. That Q&A section, which turned into an interesting passing around of the microphone where you spoke, Omar the plumber spoke, I want to say Aaron Bond spoke, a number of people. I mean, for all of the hoopla and all of the visual stuff and the beach party element to it all, that Q&A and the keynote is really one of the things that people have said to me is one of the more memorable elements of that, which is, I mean, you would never expect that off the bat because of all the, the visuals and all that kind of stuff and the jumping around, what have you. But that was those moments of authenticity and sharing of ideas really resonate still to this day. So, I mean, that moment in time is burned into my brain, and with many of those folks that were there as well, whether or not they were just listening. So, and you were a very big part of that.
Well, look, y'all made it not just fun. You made it educational. You showed us, look, y'all can all get together and do things together, which, I mean, most of us know that anyway. We're used to collaborating. But you mentioned Aaron and Omar, great people. George, Louis, there's so many people and so many relationships that are made at events that are like that y'all help bring together. And you look at the people there, and it's like, look, I trust each and every one of these guys. I see what they do on social media. I see what products they're talking about. Bigger than that, I see what products they're not talking about.
Right.
And it's like, you know what? I like their attitude. I like what they're all about. It's huge.
Indeed. And that, I mean, again, that was a first for us.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the second, which is staring down the pipe as well. And we're,
no pun intended on staring down the pipe. Right?
So, we've been given little kernels of and hints. We're about to start announcing the people who have qualified to come, and we've got a long list of people who want to be there. But someone who will definitely be there is you, sir. And we've got a doozy of an idea, and we're so excited to talk about that a little bit.
As we've been crafting, how do we take what we did and had a blast and was in many ways eye-opening for us and others, how do we take it to the next level? We came up with an idea, and you are part of that idea.
Oh man, I'm so excited. We are.
Okay. Now wait. When y'all say stuff like that, I think there's a stopped-up toilet somewhere.
Maybe.
Well, so we can definitely we can have we can hold off on some of the plumbing repairs at the Temple House so that we should do like a live like a boiler build at the
go into the mechanical room.
Actually fix their HVAC while we're there and stuff too.
There you go.
No, so I guess I'm wondering if you have a logoed shirt that or a sparkly suit a la Mr. Steve Harvey that you could possibly wear as you host the Centrotherm Family Feud event down in Miami.
Ooh, you know what? I mean, I may be the only plumber in the United States with like 3 tuxedos. Just saying, it could be. 2 of them tailcoats. Let me see.
Nice.
Let me see. I would be willing to bet that I could come up with, let's just say, appropriate attire.
Fantastic.
Very good. So we've been batting around different kind of games, and one of the ideas we had is maybe like a regional breakout with a Family Feud element to the game.
Yes, and when we thought of that, I immediately went to the email, and I was like, I know that Roger's going to be into this, and your reply is something I'll never forget. Abso-blanket-lutely, whatever.
Abso-freaking-lutely, yes, so, indeed.
Yeah, and we've been excited from this since we kicked off the idea, and we got it all funded by our corporate overlords and the whole 9 yards. And so then that's when the fun stuff really happens: is how can we make this incredibly awesome and incredibly fun? And it was just sort of a natural, and I know how amazing you're going to be as a host for this. We got to start working on some questions, so I'll shoot you an email.
We have to poll 100 plumbers on certain types of questions at some point. So.
I am going to put together a soundboard, and we will have it produced in such a way that when someone says, we surveyed 100 plumbers, what's the most common thing you find in a septic tank or a drain or something like that, whatever it is, it's like someone says, a doll head, but it's wrong. We're gonna get those proper sound effects.
I love it.
I'm gonna hybridize our branding with like the Family Feud branding, and we're gonna have it all behind on the big screens. And man, it's gonna be. We have very high hopes for production value on that and how fun it really is going to be. And and you're the perfect host for it. So I can't thank you enough. We can't thank you enough for willing to have a little fun like that.
Look, it doesn't matter to me whether I see y'all at conferences, at your conference, or man, right here. Y'all are always great to talk to, always great to work with. I love what y'all are about. And
thank you.
We talked about it the other way around. think about the influencers that you're working with and dealing with, but influencers also got to think about the people that they work with.
Sure.
And it's got to be good people for us. And at the end of the day, that's what it's always about. Y'all have always been fantastic. So number one, I love this opportunity. Got to go see Steve Harvey just a few weeks ago. So, oh yeah. So entertaining. He was up in Oklahoma.
Were you taking notes similarly to the the social media conference?
That they told you shut off your phones. If we see a phone, we're going to ask you to leave, which is great. But then I remembered, wait, I've got a watch on.
Oh, that was going to be one of my questions. So keep going.
Yeah, never mind. I'm going to leave it at that. But I could probably. Never mind. We could talk Steve Harvey later.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Good stuff. That's my question that I was leaving to the end.
All right, let's.
I want to bring it in a little early.
Okay.
I am from a young age. I had to be, single digits. My parents asked me what I wanted, and I still have it to this day. And I'm in my upper 50s.
I have no idea where he's going with this.
You do not, but you know one of my passions. Right?
I do. I know many of your passions.
Let's leave it at that. So as a kid, my parents asked me, what do you want for like Christmas or birthday? I don't remember what it was for. And I said, I wanted a watch. And to this day, I still have that watch. It's over 50 years old. It's really tiny because that's the way they made watches. And the first time I noticed you, or I met you in person, I should say, you were a Luminox wearing guy.
Yes.
I'm wearing my Luminox.
I love it.
I was going to talk Luminox. And today you're wearing an Apple.
Today Roger's wearing an Apple. Okay, so the thing is, my Luminoxes, the batteries are out.
Okay.
And I've only got like a dozen of them.
Batteries or Luminox?
Luminoxes. I have so many Luminoxes, and I don't change the batteries in the watches myself. So I need to put a package together to send to Luminox because I have them reset the dials. I have them. Yep. Go through everything. Does it need a new crystal?
Yeah.
You bet. And then the neat thing is when I get them back, I've got like a dozen new watches.
Yes.
So yes, I love Luminox. Yes, I've actually got one over here. I know you can't see it, and I don't think I can make my camera go over there.
Trust you.
I've got a Luminox watch on the wall.
Is that one of your so this is a question we always talk about. We're obviously attempting to engender brand loyalty to our products and stuff like that as well. So it sounds like Luminox is one of yours. I'd be curious to know non-plumbing, non-HVAC brands that you have loyalty to just because you like them, be it electronics, be it automotive, et cetera, et cetera. I only have two that I'm aware of: Adidas and Adobe, and so it stops at the top of the alphabet for me. I play all the types of guitars. I don't have any love for.
You're not Gibson.
I love Gibson, but I love Fender. I like Ibanez.
Okay.
I'm not loyal, or rather, I don't have specific loyalty like that, like I do to Adidas or Adobe. So I'd be curious as to, it might be Frosted Flakes or something like that. I'd be curious. So you name a few things outside of the space that make up Roger's day.
And why? I always like to know the why. Why is it that you like that?
Okay, I love that. Number one, I'm a Chevy guy, not a Ford guy.
Okay.
I remember we had a Ford station wagon when I was young, and it broke down a lot. And I remember Mom used to always say, "Look, don't buy a Ford. It stands for Fix or Repair Daily." That was Mom. So I grew up remembering that. I've only owned Chevrolets. Now I did buy Ford work trucks because I think they're sturdy for that. Wrangler. I've worn Wrangler jeans since I was kids.
All right.
If you tried to put me on in a pair of Levi's, I'd be like, wait, where do the feet go in? I don't even know. Completely different type of clothing. I'm a Harley Davidson guy. Love Harleys. And then really the other ones would be like TubeBuddy. I think it's phenomenal. I use it. It's a tool for YouTube. And there's other ones out there. I think TubeBuddy's the best. Luminox, of course, I do. I love the watches. I get more comments in videos about the watches I'm wearing than I would have ever imagined. And people think it's a Rolex. People think it's this or that. And it's like, guys, it's a Luminox. Don't get me wrong. It's a great watch.
It's not a Timex.
Yeah. It's a good rugged watch. It'll last you forever. And then the cologne that I wear is a Mont Blanc.
Okay.
Which one? I'm a Mont Blanc fan too for cologne.
Okay. I used to wear Mont Blanc Legend Intense.
Okay.
I quit making it. So when I couldn't find it, I spoke to a wonderful lady in Anaheim at, God, I think it was Dillard's. And she ended up pointing me over to Mont Blanc Explorer.
Okay.
And I have worn it ever since.
I have the white one, and I'm trying to. Is it Inspire, the white bottle? Which is,
I think the white ones Inspire. The Explorer is a round bottle.
okay.
But then I mentioned this at a YouTube conference. VidSummit was in town a month ago. And one of the guys in there is a cologne and perfume person. He found the Mont Blanc Legend Intense in Canada.
Okay.
Sent me a link where I could order it. So I ordered 2 bottles, got it in the other day. Now I think Explorer smells better. So it's what you get used to.
Yeah.
And then the funny thing, another one that I've always got pens in my pocket, and the Ridge wallets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got one too.
I love my Ridge.
I also got the Ridge pens, and I've always got 2 of them in my pocket.
I got to check those out because I'm a big Ridge fan. I love Ridge.
Yeah, me too. I love their pens. Their pens tend to leak a little bit. If you look at the bottom of my shirts, I've normally got an ink spot.
Why do you love them so much?
I don't know. They're just, well, to be honest, here's why. They're either made out of stainless steel or titanium or aluminum or something like this. I can carry these on a plane.
Ah, I see.
I used to do security, used to be a bodyguard. You're always looking for something. And it's like, hey, look, when I walk on a plane, there's 2 pens in my pocket. They let you walk right through security with them. And, go back to what we were talking about earlier about the brand. I'm TSA pre-check. I'm clear, but I wear work boots. You've got to take them off when you go through security. It doesn't matter if you're clear or not. And people always say, well, Roger, why don't you wear tennis shoes or something like that? That's not the brand. When I get on a plane, and I learned this from Michael Gerber, one of my first coaches, when I get on a plane, I look like Roger Wakefield. And most people don't see Roger Wakefield in tennis shoes, in Harley Davidson jeans, which is what I wear when I'm not wearing Wranglers. When I'm wearing just soft, out of the dryer jeans, they're Harley Davidson. And, I love the way that y'all talk about the why. And, I wear my boots because that's part of the brand.
Sure.
And when I heard Michael Gerber speak one day, he's on stage, he said, look, this is how I walk through the airport. And he's in a suit, and he's got his hat on, he's got a tie on, all this. It's like, man, why would you do that? And he said, because this is me. This is the me that America sees. And, most people see me on YouTube, on TikTok, on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever. They see me like this. And I flew to Atlanta the other day for a speakers conference, and I'm sitting there getting my boots oiled. Somebody came up literally while I'm on the chair and says, oh my God, you're Roger. Can I take a picture with you? I'm like, yeah. I'll climb down. He's like, oh no. And he climbs up in the chair next to me, and we lean over and he takes a selfie. And I get down from there and I walk towards the plane. And this is 10 minutes later, and 2 guys walking by are like, hey, can we take a picture with you? And I'm like, absolutely. We're building a brand, and the brand is all about making the trades amazing. And that's what it's always about. So the things that I do, I mean, think about every one of those companies that I just mentioned. I love them. I love Chevrolet. I love Harley Davidson. I love Wrangler, Luminox, Mont Blanc. And it's things that we don't change. I wear the same cologne every day. And it's really funny because that speakers conference I was at, I went walking down the corridor to get into the room, and one of the ClickFunnels guys is standing out there, big old guy. And I walk by him, and he looks at me, and there was a conversation about it the day before, and he says, man, I got to tell you, you do smell good.
Yeah.
I'm like, Greg, thank you. I appreciate it. I said, that means a lot coming from you.
That's amazing. All right, Roger, we've taken up a lot of your time. I have one final question before we send you back to improving the trades. Yes. When was the last time you were clean shaven?
Oh my God.
Arms like that. Are you kidding?
Oh, it's gotta be 15 or 20 years. I don't even remember, because I probably had a beard before I had the mustache. And I used to keep a beard and just keep it really short, about like I'll do my hair. And just used to keep it where it was the Don Johnson, it was longer than razor stubble.
Yeah.
But always kept really clean and neat. Man, clean shaven may be 50 years. And I say that I graduated high school 40 years ago. So it may be 40 years.
Amazing. Well, obviously that mustache is part of the brand, and never get rid of it, because it's one and the same, and it identifies you as you, and it's as important as any colors in your style guide, for sure.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And hey, Matthew, it's funny you mentioned that, because I go to social media conferences, and sometimes I'll be in the audience and they will pull me up as part of their present. And this is other presenters, and they don't even know I'm there. And they're like, and Roger Wakefield, there's that iconic mustache, and people start making noise, and they're like, wait, Roger's in the audience? And it's like, look, I had no idea.
Show everybody.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It really is. But Matthew, Michael, look, thank y'all for everything y'all do, not just for the trades and the industry and the behind the scenes, but for all the people in the trades that you help bring together and get together and do amazing things for. To me, that's part of what makes Centrotherm a company to really do good things with.
Well, it's incredibly high praise.
Thank you for saying that.
Can't thank you enough for that. Can't thank you enough for joining us. And dust off the very long microphone with the little thing on the top, old school 1970s style, Richard Dawson Family Feud.
There you go.
The best of all of it, right? Richard Karn, he was a tool man, so he was the Family Feud host at one point. And
yes, indeed.
we're counting down the days to seeing you in South Beach, my friend.
Guys, thank y'all again so much. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a great pleasure, sir. We're back.
We are back. We are back.
That was a wonderful interview with Mr. Roger Wakefield.
Yes, I must say that might have been maybe my favorite one so far, which is amazing because this is now season 3. Season 3, getting towards the end of season 3.
Yeah.
We'll do some kind of holiday special next month for December, as we do. I'll come up with something that'll be fun.
Okay. All right.
But Roger is such a pro, it's absurd. And how natural does he make it sound too, while he's delivering these articulate and intelligent responses?
He's
it's
a pro.
just amazing.
He's a pro.
What a guy. We're lucky he took the time out to say hello to us.
Yeah, absolutely. A guy of his stature,
sure.
and all that. He's a very busy guy. I'm surprised we got him, kind of triangulated into the date here.
Well, I worked with Amber.
Yes.
Who is his scheduler to make sure we had that right time, and I'm sure he's whisked away to do. He's putting out so much amazing stuff. It's really.
You know what we didn't get a chance to talk about with him? I wanted to too. It was on my list. I just didn't get to it. His favorite seat on the Southwest flight.
Oh, it's true. I mentioned Southwest.
You did mention it, but we didn't talk about his favorite seat. Yeah. Left side of the plane. What is it? I don't know.
Well, he wants it's the fire. It's the leg room.
The leg room. And I sat in one of those chairs on Southwest not long ago and took a picture just like he does without the cowboy boots.
It's funny. That's the kind of stuff that separates him from some less authentic, let's say, people. That's clearly coming from his phone as he flies to wherever he's going. Obviously he's in Texas, so Southwest is a very convenient airline to fly, and he's found a home with them. Sure. A-list preferred, my guess, so he can get that seat. And I love seeing those posts. And
I always comment because I crack up every time I see it.
You can just tell that he's obviously having a good time with it as well. Similarly, when someone like Aiden, for example, picks up on Safe Venting Enthusiast or something like that, little memes that we say, that's one of his kind of, it's meme-esque, let's say, or it's at least a trend because he does it when he takes that seat each time.
One of my most popular, most viewed and commented Instagram post is me pretending I'm Roger, taking a picture in his seat. So just that tells you all you need to know.
So in that sense, it absolutely is a meme.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's planted that seed and then you continue it on and it kind of has a life of its own at that point too. And that's just one of many things that Roger sort of pioneered. I've learned a lot from him.
I have to.
You know, I like I said, I'm not a plumber, I'm not an installer, so he's teaching me new things every time I flip on one of his episodes or one of his podcasts and whatnot. And I must say, he also makes it very accessible.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that could fly right over your head if you get overly technical or get too in the weeds with jargon or this or that. It's very accessible, it's very authentic, it's very educational, obviously, and you know, it's incredibly well produced and clean and lit and all those other
like everything
things.
else around Roger Wakefield. Everything's a pro. The image, the brand, his mission, you know, and what he's trying to do. You know, he's just a man in a unique position in our industry.
Yes, and he fits very well in with the theme. We talk about this all the time because Ben Thompson and Michael Flynn and Ben Poole from HVAC Tactical, and Terrence, and all of these guys
go on and on and on.
that we've had. We've been very lucky to have these guys on our podcast. Have that
from a different perspective, and I still love the Interband.
True. But what I was going to say is all of these guys are working to. I mean, he's great. That was an economist that we had on. I mean, we've had loads of incredible guests. Those guys that I just rattled off there, along with Roger, have this elevate the trades mentality.
Sure. Around that, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. That was his theme throughout the entire conversation that we had, was teaching, accessibility, how to do better. And it's not just be a better plumber, be a better plumbing business owner, be a better human being in a lot of ways too. I mean, it's really, really honorable, and we're very, very lucky to have had Roger on the show. And boy, are we lucky to have him come to our event in Miami as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap it up. Christmas special next month. I'm not quite sure what that means exactly, but I will come up with something funny. I'll come up with something interesting, and maybe we'll have a guest. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll have a game show. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll do a cartwheel. Maybe we won't.
I won't be doing the cartwheel if that's what it is.
You've got it in you.
I do not.
Push-up challenge?
I can do a push-up. I can do a push-up. If that's the challenge, I'm in.
We're gonna bring so on the other side of the studio here is the door. We'll just wait till it's break time at the factory here, and we'll just have everybody come in and do push-up challenges.
Can you make it look like with the green wall, like I'm on the floor and, you know, doing push-ups like
I mean,
I can do many if that's the case.
We can certainly do that for sure. Watch, you know, here, do that again.
Okay.
We're gonna film this right here. So, oh my God.
And if that's the way we can do it, then I'm in. I can do as many push-up challenges as you need me to do.
Wow, look, all those boxes on the other side of the room are defying gravity.
Can you block out the back? That actually, you know, if you put it on an angle, you could probably get away with it.
I'm definitely gonna drop that in.
Make the wall look like grass, so I'm outside.
Not a bad idea,
right?
Or yeah, like gym floor.
Yeah, like a gym floor, yeah.
You know, I mean, ultimately, if I just leave it like that, make it a building, it's like kind of like Spider-Man, you know, climbing up, or old.
Now you're talking my game.
I know.
Now you're talking my game.
All right, let's call it a time. It's been long enough. December episode. We'll have to put our heads together on that one. Maybe we can do it on location from Miami.
Ooh, we got to go to prepare. That might not be.
Maybe we might be.
We might be able to get little seeds, a little bit of kind of foreshadowing of the event. Maybe
we'll be in Phoenix for party as well, so maybe we can do it there. Maybe we can do it in Miami.
I like the Miami idea. That gives you less time to.
Time is short.
I know.
We're going to be very busy in Miami as well.
Yeah.
So,
but we can we can somehow spin it in.
Let's think about it.
Let's call the front man. See if he can make it.
It's a good idea. He's busy too.
Oh, see that
out there shooting people in the head and what?
Well, not quite. Come on. You know, with Nerf guns.
Well, season 2 of the actual Netflix show is coming out too. So
soon.
Was it November that we saw it? It was very soon.
Yeah, I think it's coming soon.
We'll obviously be on the lookout for that too. We should hopefully draw some inspiration.
Absolutely.
All right. That's it.
Ciao, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. We just recorded a podcast with
Bob. I'm gonna cut this section in with the phone, so you're not on the actual camera, but we'll probably have to include this in some capacity behind the scenes here.
Do it in the bloopers part. How are you, Bob?
Good.
Good. Nice to see you. You've been at the new